They are war crimes. Israel commits those war crimes on a daily basis, and the world stays silent. They say Israel has the right to defend itself. It's like saying Jimmy Savile, the prolific child raper, has a right to defend himself when the child scratched him while he was raping it. If you treated a dog in this country the way that the Palestinian child is treated in Palestine, wallahi, Allah is my witness, you would be arrested for treating a dog in that manner. Today they're treating human beings worse than an animal. And we speak out against the oppression, and we will not tolerate people, and we are not going to be on the back foot, and we're not going to be defensive. We're going to say what you're doing is genocide, it's mass murder, it's the killing and the quashing of innocent people, and it has to stop. Now we are being told that this current conflict started when Israel was attacked by a terrorist group, as they claim, and they flew over with paragliders and machine guns, and they killed some Israelis. And therefore, Israel has the right to defend itself, and it is now retaliating. But what a lot of people don't realize, they don't acknowledge, and they don't know that this attack was not just an attack that happened, that instigated a response. In reality, the Palestinians have been attacked for the last 75 years of their existence. And that attack and that oppression has not ceased, and it has not stopped. This is not the catalyst as to the conflict that we see today. The clocks did not start when the rockets flew over from Palestine into Israel. The clocks did not start for this conflict when some paragliders flew in and shot some innocent Israelis. The conflict started way before. And if you look, even just a few weeks and a few months before the conflict, on the 18th of September 2023, before the current crisis, Save the Children reported that 38 Palestinian children were killed by Israeli forces just leading up to this conflict, making that the worst year on record, of killing innocent Palestinian children just before this current conflict. So don't be fooled when they tell you that Israel is retaliating. Israel are not retaliating. Israel has always been the aggressor. Israel has always been the instigator, the propagator. It is not the Israelis that are retaliating, but up to now, every retaliation is by the Palestinian people. So don't forget this, my friends. Don't let them persuade you that they are simply reacting to an offensive by the Palestinian people, when in fact they have been the ones who have been carrying out the offensives non-stop every day of the lives of the Palestinian people for the last 75 years. Under the United Nations Charter for the Human Rights, they regard Israel routinely commits war crimes to the Palestinian population, an innocent population that has no military, no navy, no air force, no army, and it attacks them mercilessly on a daily basis. Under the United Nations, my brothers and my sisters, not that I need them to quote to me as a Muslim as to what is valid or invalid, but according to their own charter, according to the very laws that they constructed, they said using excessive force, targeting of civilians, and disproportionate force are all acts and all crimes against humanity. They are war crimes, and Israel commits those war crimes on a daily basis, and the world stays silent. But we will not be silent. We will not stand by and let them mercilessly wipe out and commit genocide on a people. We will voice our opinions. We will voice what we have to say. And inshallah, there will be some amongst those who regard the Palestinians to be the perpetrators, to hopefully be influenced by the information that is provided, not just here, but by the countless voices that are out there. If you don't wish to believe me, because the man is a Muslim, the man is a sympathizer for Islam, he's going to be perhaps presenting facts according to their narrative, then look at their own narrative, my friends. Look at their own narrative. If you study the organization for the Israeli soldiers who are breaking the silence, Breaking the Silence is an organization that catalogues and interviews Israeli soldiers who have gained a conscience and who are speaking out against the atrocities that they are committing on a daily basis. Hear what they have to say. If you don't believe me as a Muslim, believe the Israeli soldiers who are telling us that we deliberately and continuously on a daily basis humiliate the Palestinian people. We attack civilians. This is their words, not my words. We stop the teachers going from schools. We stop the children going to schools. We attack them, we shoot them, we humiliate them, we raid them in the middle of the night, waking the children up at gunpoint to make them fear us, to dominate us. These are not my words. These are the words of Israeli soldiers who have gained a conscience. You don't want to believe me, then at least believe them. At least allow that information to wake you. If you are asleep that the Muslims are complaining, that the Muslims are crying, that the Palestinians are crying, and you wish to just remain in your slumber, then at least allow these facts to wake you from your slumber. There is no excuse today for people who say that I'm ignorant and I don't know what's happening. There are resources available today that were not available to our fathers or our grandfathers or the generations that came before. Today, the internet is completely flooded with information. And even the lies and the propaganda are easily combated if you are interested to find out the truth. But if you're happy to have your predispositions fed because you hate the Arabs, because these are backward, medieval people with a medieval religion full of hate, and you just wish to reinforce those predispositions, then yes, you will find the sewage on the internet to feed you, to give you the gluttony, to fill your souls and your hearts with that evil lies, with those deceptions. But if you have a conscience and you wish to at least side with the victim and ensure that you do not side with the perpetrator, the one who has created this mess in the first place, then open your eyes and educate yourselves. There's a lot of information out there. And again, if you don't want to believe a Muslim man who stands here crying about the Palestinians, then listen to Noam Chomsky, the professor who is Jewish himself. Listen to Norman Finkelstein, Ilan Pappé, who are political scientists. Their parents are survivors of the Holocaust. They have no dog in the race. They do not attribute any support necessarily to any group or any people, but they speak with the evidence and the facts. And what do they say? What do they argue? The same things that I have mentioned to you today, that Israel commits on a daily basis war crimes on a predominantly civilian population, women and children. If you treated a dog in this country the way that the Palestinian child is treated in Palestine, wallahi, Allah is my witness, you would be arrested. You would be arrested for treating a dog in that manner. Today they're treating human beings worse than an animal, and the world stays silent. The world says, we stand for Israel. How disgusting. What are you standing for? You're standing for a country, a nation, a political movement of Zionism that is aggressively and actively destroying and crushing the dreams of children and women to live in their land in peace. Now people say, let's not talk about figures. Let's not talk about how many here and how many there. Let's just say that both of them are killing each other. Let's just say both of them are fighting one another. Let's not look at the figures. I wonder why they say this. I wonder why they don't want you to look into the figures. Could it be that the imbalance that I'm about to tell you is so grotesque that they don't want you to know about it? So let's have a look at what they did in the last conflict, Protective Edge. Homes destroyed. How many homes did these sophisticated rockets that were being fired into Israel, how many homes were destroyed? How many? One. How many homes did Israel destroy in the Palestinian territories? How many? 24 hours the bulldozers were going. The missiles were flying. How many? One home in Israel, 18,000 homes in the Palestinian territories. So when you don't want to talk about the figures, when you don't want to talk about the numbers, I know why you don't want to talk about those numbers. Because those numbers are damning. they condemn you, they quash you, they crush you, they destroy any remnants of support for Israel. So you don't want to talk about those numbers. The Israelis destroyed 285 kindergartens, nurseries for babies, for children, and one was destroyed in Israel. They destroyed 73 medical facilities in Palestine. 73 in Palestine. How many medical facilities were destroyed in Israel? 0. Duck, zip, 0. Now, yes, these figures are uncomfortable for people. They don't want to talk about the numbers because the numbers condemn them to their hypocrisy. The numbers condemn them to their utter contempt for justice and fairness. So what do? They say, let's not talk about the numbers, please. Let's just say it's a conflict. It's a war. They're just as bad as each other. My friends, these figures speak for themselves. They're not just as bad as each other. The figures speak for themselves. When you put Mike Tyson in a ring with a 3-year-old, it is not a battle or a bout, my friends. It is a massacre. They say Israel has the right to defend itself. Israel has the right to defend itself. It's like saying Jimmy Savile, the prolific child raper, has a right to defend himself when the child scratched him while he was raping it. Would you ever utter such a thing? Would you ever agree to such a concept? As vile and as disgusting as that is, this is your support for Israel. Shame on you. Your soul is dead. You have no hearts. Your hearts are stone. Do you not see the evidence that unfolds in front of you? You wish to remain blind and deaf and dumb to the misery of people? Or is it because, they're Arabs, they're medieval, these people are backward. You know, they teach their children to hate the Jews, so wipe them off, kill them, destroy them. There are very important lessons in history, my friends, that we need to contemplate. And all those of you who want to hang the flag of Israel off your buildings and on your Facebook posts, just remember one thing, that in history, the supporters of tyranny are never remembered. They are disgraced, even by their own families. If you have a Nazi in your generation, your forefathers, you'll even change your surname. You don't want to be attributed to that scum. One of the other quotes that is very striking by Malcolm X is, if you're not careful, the newspapers will have you hating the people who are being oppressed and loving the people who are doing the oppressing. If you want to do something, then educate yourself. Become an activist. Speak out against it. Do things that you are allowed to do according to your religion, and don't overstep the mark. And one last message to my Palestinian brothers and sisters, that your resilience and your strength has strengthened our iman. This is dawah for us, because in light of the destruction, in light of the tyranny and the oppression, you are still saying Allahu Akbar. Allah is the greatest. And Alhamdulillah, praise be to Allah. You're showing thanks and shukr whilst your entire families have just been bombed and wiped out. You're picking up the pieces of your children and you're saying Alhamdulillah to Allah. You're being grateful, and as a consequence, that resilience is giving us strength as well. So Jazakallah khair to my brothers and sisters in Palestine, and know that your brothers and your sisters around the world are supporting you, and there will be a day when you will be freed, and there will be a day when the people who spoke against the oppression will be the ones who will be celebrated, and the maniacs, the psychopaths who have supported this by military means or even your words, then you will be forgotten. You'll be destroyed in history. Nobody will want to know you or attribute anything to you. Your own families will disown you and they will not want to know you. But the people who stood up and they spoke out against this oppression, those are the people that will be remembered. Those are the people that will stand in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of judgment, and they will say, Ya Allah, I did whatever I could do. I spoke out. You told me there were 3 signs for Iman, for belief. You said the first one was to stop it with my hands. I was incapable. I couldn't do that. The second one was that you speak out against it. And the third one was just feel that it is evil in your hearts. So Alhamdulillah, at least we do the first stage and we do the second stage. And we speak out against the oppression. And we will not tolerate people. And we are not going to be on the back foot. And we're not going to be defensive. We're going to say what you're doing is genocide. It's mass murder. It's the killing and the quashing of innocent people, and it has to stop.
ah